Most football fans think the World Cup's biggest turning points happened on the pitch. Maradona's hand to God, Zidane's headbutt, Messi finally lifting the trophy. But one of the biggest moments in World Cup history never happened during a match. In fact, it almost happened behind closed doors, in a meeting room, with a vote that could have changed international football forever. If just a handful of people had made a different decision, the World Cup we know today might look completely different. Different hosts, and different champions, even different football superpowers. So what was this forgotten turning point? And why do almost no fans talk about it? To answer that, we have to go back to the early 1960s. At the time, the World Cup wasn't the global spectacle we recognize today. Europe and South America dominated nearly everything. Most champions came from those two continents, and many football officials believed that was exactly how it should stay. Meanwhile, dozens of countries across Africa, Asia, and other regions were becoming independent nations. They wanted more than FIFA membership. They wanted a real chance to play on football's biggest stage. There was just one problem. There were almost no World Cup places available for them. In qualification, entire continents were often forced to compete for a single spot. Sometimes they had to play European teams just to reach the tournament. In several editions, massive regions of the world were practically locked out before the competition even began. Then came a breaking point. Ahead of the 1966 World Cup, FIFA's qualification system sparked outrage. Africa's football associations realized they would once again have virtually no guaranteed path into the tournament. Their response shocked the football world. Instead of accepting the system, almost every African nation boycotted World Cup qualification. Imagine that happening today, an entire continent refusing to participate in football's biggest event. At first, many believed FIFA would simply move on. After all, European and South American football generated the headlines, the stars, and the biggest crowds. But something unexpected happened. The boycott created enormous political pressure. This wasn't just about football anymore. It became a question of fairness, representation, and whether FIFA truly wanted to be a global organization or merely a tournament for a select group of nations. The timing couldn't have been more significant. Around the world, new countries were joining international organizations. Global influence was shifting. Television was expanding football's audience faster than ever before. Ignoring half the world suddenly became much harder. Inside FIFA, the debate grew more intense. Some officials argued that World Cup places should simply go to the strongest teams. Others believed football could never become truly global unless emerging nations were actually given opportunities to compete. Those two philosophies were completely different. One focused on rewarding current success. The other focused on building the future of the game. And that disagreement almost changed everything. Eventually, FIFA made a decision. Starting with the 1970 World Cup, Africa would receive its own guaranteed qualification place. On paper, it looked like a small administrative adjustment. In reality, it changed football history. For the first time, African nations knew there was a direct path to the World Cup. Investment increased. National federations became more ambitious. Governments began taking international football more seriously. Young players suddenly had something previous generations never truly had, a realistic dream. And the effects didn't stop there. Once one region gained greater representation, others demanded the same. Asia gradually earned more places. North and Central America expanded their presence. Oceania pushed for better opportunities. The World Cup slowly transformed from a competition dominated by two continents into a tournament that genuinely represented the world. Think about many of football's unforgettable moments over the last 50 years. Cameroon's incredible run in 1990, South Korea reaching the semifinals in 2002, Senegal shocking defending champions in their tournament debut, Morocco becoming the first African nation to reach a World Cup semifinal. Those stories only happened because the door had been opened decades earlier. But here's the fascinating part. None of this was guaranteed. If FIFA had ignored the boycott, if officials had decided that existing qualification rules should remain untouched, if expanding representation had been delayed for another decade, international football might have evolved very differently. Talented generations could have remained invisible. Global fan bases might have developed much more slowly. Sponsors and broadcasters may have focused even more heavily on traditional football powers. Even today's transfer market could look different, because the World Cup has always been one of the biggest stages for unknown players to introduce themselves to the world. This is where football history becomes fascinating. People often assume the sport changes because of goals, trophies, or superstar players, but sometimes the biggest changes happen because of meetings, negotiations, and decisions most fans never hear about. A single vote, a revised qualification system, a new place allocated to one continent. Those choices rarely make highlight reels, yet they reshape generations. Today, fans debate which nation deserves more World Cup spots, whether the tournament has become too large, or whether expansion helps or hurts competition. Those conversations aren't new. They're echoes of arguments that started decades ago. The difference is that history has already shown what greater inclusion can do. It didn't weaken football. It made the World Cup feel more like the world. And that's why this forgotten turning point deserves far more attention than it gets. Because without it, the tournament millions of us love today might have remained a competition for only a small part of the planet. Sometimes the biggest moment in football history isn't the goal everyone remembers. It's the decision almost nobody remembers. So here's the question. If you could change one major FIFA decision from history, which one do you think would have had the biggest impact on football today?